My wife and her best friend accused me of having an affair. I'm a 31-year-old man. My wife is 29. We had a baby last December. The birth was traumatic, and my wife developed postpartum depression afterward. She was going to return to work, but she's been struggling so much that we decided she'd stay home until our daughter turned 1. She's been attending therapy every week. With my wife at home full-time, I've had to increase my working hours. We discussed this before making the decision, and she understood from the beginning. A few weeks ago, my boss offered me a project requiring significant overtime, but promising great financial and career benefits. I discussed it with my wife, and she agreed I should take it. During these 4 weeks, her mother and best friend Jessie would help with duties I normally handle. Jessie is a stay-at-home mom with 2 young children. She started coming over daily to help my wife with the kids. 3 weeks into the project, it became clear we'd need a few more weeks to complete it. I told my wife that night, and while she said it was fine, she grew noticeably cold in the days that followed. This wasn't unusual behavior lately, so I tried not to take it personally. During the final week of the project, I came home one evening to find Jessie still at our house. I greeted both of them and went to check on our daughter. Before reaching her room, I overheard Jessie say, "He doesn't even stop to greet you." Definitely a sign. I turned and asked what she meant. Immediately, my wife started crying, and Jessie began accusing me of having an affair. She claimed I must hate my wife because of her PPD, and that I wasn't attracted to her because of her pregnancy weight gain. None of this was true. I've been doing my best to support my wife through her depression while providing for our family. I still find her beautiful, but she hasn't wanted intimacy, and I've respected that. Jessie demanded to see my phone. I refused her, but told my wife she could check it if she wanted. When my wife nodded, something inside me broke. The thought that she actually believed I might be cheating after everything we'd been through was devastating. She found nothing on my phone. Instead of apologizing, Jessie claimed I'd deleted the evidence. She started shouting, waking our daughter. I told her to leave, then comforted our daughter while my wife remained crying on the couch. After putting our daughter back to sleep, I sat with my wife. She admitted she'd been worried since I started working overtime. I reminded her we discussed what a good opportunity this was, and she had agreed. She claimed extending the project was suspicious. I explained that such changes happen in business. She asked for proof, so I showed her work emails, timestamp messages, and pay stubs confirming my overtime. She apologized for doubting me, explaining that Jessie had convinced her these were all signs of cheating. When I asked why she trusted Jessie more than me, and why she didn't share her concerns directly, she had no real answer. The project ended 2 weeks ago. I've actually reduced my hours to spend more time with my family, but I feel burnt out and resentful knowing my wife doesn't trust me. I wonder if every future project, errand, or business trip will bring accusations of infidelity. I've tried discussing this a few times, but my wife always says she's too tired or sad to talk. I try to respect her feelings, but I wonder if I'm allowed to have feelings of my own. 2 days ago, I told my wife I was going to find a therapist. I didn't connect it to her accusations, just said I was having a tough time and needed support. She shrugged and told me to do whatever. The next day, I returned from work to find our bedroom and home office ransacked. Papers were scattered everywhere. My daughter was alone in her room crying, and my wife was gone. Her phone was off. I called her parents and friends, but nobody had seen her. I was getting worried and called my mother to babysit while I searched for her. Before my mother arrived, my wife returned. Jessie was driving. Jessie stayed in the car while my wife came inside, visibly upset and tearful. When I asked what happened, she screamed accusations that I was unfaithful and using therapy as a cover to meet another woman. As I tried to calm her, she hit me, breaking my nose. She seemed to realize what she'd done and sat on the couch, staring blankly at the wall. I locked myself in my daughter's room, called my mother to explain the situation, and asked my mother-in-law to come and care for my wife. I packed a bag for my daughter, and when my mother arrived, we left. My wife didn't even look up. My daughter and I stayed with my parents, and my wife stayed with hers. I began the process of getting a restraining order against Jessie. My wife and I separated. I still loved her but couldn't live with someone who had hurt me and might harm our daughter. I wasn't pursuing divorce yet, hoping she'd get treatment and we could reconcile. My in-laws were exploring inpatient treatment options at a local hospital. I documented everything in case of a future custody battle. my heart was broken. I knew this wasn't really my wife, it was her illness. But I needed to protect myself and our daughter while giving her space to recover. One Sunday night, she came to my parents' house demanding our daughter. Because she had left her alone for hours during her last breakdown and had been violent with me, I refused. I offered to let her visit while we supervised, but she wanted to take our daughter away. She eventually left upset. A few hours later, she drove her parents' car into a tree and died the following morning. Jessie came to see my daughter and me yesterday. Through tears, she said she planned to speak at my wife's funeral and had already received approval from my in-laws. I told her she would not be speaking. We argued and she left, calling me inconsiderate and claiming she loved my wife too. My in-laws insist Jessie should speak. They've known her since childhood and are close to her. We're all fragile right now and I worry about damaging my relationship with them. Still, the thought of watching Jessie speak at my wife's funeral makes me sick, knowing she encouraged my wife's paranoia and left our daughter alone. It's been 6 months since I lost my wife. If there's one thing I've learned from this tragedy, it's this. Never let anyone come between you and your spouse. Don't let others barge into your family life uninvited, no matter how long you've known them. What happened to us might have been prevented if I'd recognized the danger sooner. Jessie wasn't helping my wife. She was systematically destroying her trust in me while taking advantage of her vulnerable mental state. My daughter is now my entire world. Every day I see her mother in her face. I'll make sure she knows how much her mother loved her and how mental illness can distort reality. I'll also teach her to value privacy in her relationships and be careful about who she allows to influence her thoughts. If you're watching this and see someone trying to divide a couple, speak up. If your partner has a friend who constantly feeds them negative thoughts about you, address it immediately. Set clear boundaries. Your marriage is between two people, not three. Protect it at all costs.